Back in 2011, I wasn't on a good track. And I realized that. I realized I was not headed in the direction I needed to be headed. I was not where I needed to be in life. I was not who I needed to be in life. And I made the decision to walk away from that life and start over.
2011, I'm focusing on me. I'm focusing on my job. I'm focusing on my career. I'm focusing on friends.
That wasn't easy, being an adult and sucking up my pride that I hadn't made the best decisions in my early adult life.
You tend to lose friends when you get in a relationship. You get to focus in, and that relationship really becomes your new friendship, and that had happened in that last relationship. So in this last year, I've really been focusing on reaching out with friends and committing to my job.
I wanted to start over again. I wanted a fresh start. So I moved back in with my parents. I think that was hard on all of us. But it was good for a time. While I was there, I started getting myself back into church a little bit more. But I decided to go to a different church. Not the one I was raised in. I decided to be my own independent person. I picked a different church to try out. I wanted to make some new friends in this church and surround myself with some like-minded, positive young adults. So one evening after church service, we were all out at a restaurant to eat, and I just felt it was put on my heart to suggest me, put yourself out there and just suggest going to do something. So I suggested go-karting. I like to go-kart, and I pitched it to one of the friends I had been talking to. I asked, do you think people would come? I really want to invite whoever wants to go. I want to just meet people. I would say we invited at least 15 people, half girls, half boys, and I was really excited that there were other women who were interested in going go-karting. And I'm like, yes, this is my type of people. These are my girls, I was really excited because I was so nervous to put myself out there.
I have a group of friends that I know now attend church. They all hung out together. So over a period of time that this clique of friends, I knew that their connecting point was church. Church wasn't my thing. It was a totally different world for me. But they were all great people, and I loved and I cherished all of their friendships, and I really enjoyed hanging out with them. They had great parties, dress-up parties, themed parties. It was great. It was a great group of friends. I get home from work one night, and one of these friends asked me to go out for dinner. So as we're eating our subs, we're just kind of talking, and he gets a buzz on his phone, and he says, "Hey, Jamie, do you want to go go-karting?"
It's the night of, we're going go-karting. It's September 2nd, 2011. Yes, I know the date. Yes, I know the date.
I said, "When are we going?" He's like, "Tonight." I said, "Okay, I'm already done work. I'm kind of dressed down today, so yeah, you know what? Let's go go-karting." We're going to carpool, so a whole bunch of us, we're going to drive there and go down together.
We agreed to meet at someone's house. When I arrived, there was a couple guys in the driveway. I think they were drinking pop or something.
We're all standing in the driveway waiting for everyone else to kind of collectively get together. Apparently this is a big thing. I didn't know, it was just kind of random for me. So maybe the sub started to kick back a little bit.
When I was walking up the driveway, I recognize you, I recognize you. Yeah, I recognize you. Okay, there's no girls here yet.
And I let out this huge belch.
And then I just hear this big belch.
I'm around guys, so to be honest, maybe I forced it. I don't know.
And I walk up behind him and I say, "Excuse you, And he turned around and he looked pretty embarrassed. He looked really embarrassed.
Yep. She heard that for sure. Excuse me.
He was a little embarrassed. But that was Jamie. That's how I met Jamie. Back of his head belching.
Never seen her before. Guess she's coming go-karting. Kind of cute.
We have now arrived at the go-kart center.
It's about an hour and a half away. This is full commitment.
I'm looking at the prices. They're a little bit steeper than what I was mentally prepared to pay. As we waited and waited, no one else showed up. There was only 5 of us. And not a single girl. Great.
I noticed that the one girl that came really had a look on her face that says, I don't want to do this. No. So, it's kind of expensive too, and I was like, well, maybe it's past my commitment. If someone else is gonna sit out, this is maybe my excuse not to pay either.
I am now stuck on a night out with a bunch of guys. That was awkward. I'm sure I didn't hide the fact that I wasn't thrilled about the cost. So Jamie, again being the only gentleman in the group I didn't recognize from the church, he politely leans over and he's like,
if you don't want to do this, I'll sit out with you too. That's no big deal.
No, I'll pay. No, thank you. I'll pay. So this gentleman, who my first impression was him burping, I foot the bill. I decided I was going to pay to do the tracks because I didn't want to be on the sidelines with a gentleman I didn't know.
We're in. We're doing this. So we all get in and we're getting ready to pick our cars. Now, green was my favorite color, and I see this one green car and I'm like, that's mine. That is mine. I'm going to get that one. That's my favorite. And this girl cuts me off and sits in the green car. And I'm like, that's my car.
Cut you off, or did I just beat you to it?
And she's interrupting in my video. She's interrupting my story now too. So she gets in there and she sits in the car and she's like, yeah, this is mine. I like green. This is gonna be mine. I'm gonna have lots of fun.
Naturally, I picked my favorite color. It's a shade of green, like my eyes. Blink, blink.
I got stuck with the pink one.
Tell it how it is, James.
Yeah, I got stuck with the pink one.
And then you know what? We're off to a great start. First corner, I get T-bone.
I see Jody, and I see this sweet spot, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going for it. Boom! Oh, I got her good. I got her real good. That's my green car.
That's strike number 2. Now we're driving, and his cell phone falls out of his pocket.
It was in my pocket before I started. This lovely pink go-kart of mine, I guess, shook or rattled, or maybe it was the T-bone, I don't know, but I guess it fell out. So I had to make sure. I didn't want to buy a new BlackBerry. I mean, those things were crazy expensive, not $1,000 like the phones are now, but at that time I did not want to buy a new BlackBerry. Plus it's my work phone. So I called the guy to come help, and they stopped everything and we were able to find my phone. That was great. Thank you.
Did I mention he has these hemp polka dot shoes on? Okay, he had a baseball cap. He was a little grubby. Now he's complaining. Now he's making everybody stop because one of his cell phones fell out of his pocket on the tracks. Yes, it was important. It was a work phone. But not knowing that and just seeing this guy hold up the entire track, I was put off a little bit again. It wasn't the best first impression.
That was a whole lot of fun that day.
It was not love at first sight. I mean, we had a fun night. We all went to 7-Eleven after and got slushies and took pictures together, group photo, which...
We had so much fun that night before. The next night, I got another call.
He got my attention the second night.
And it was that same friend that invited me go-karting. He's like, hey, do you want to go to the movies? So I picked the scary one.
One of the friends from go-karting, it was a gentleman, he asked if I wanted to go see a movie. I said, sure, what movie? And his response was, well, Jamie wants to go see Apollo 18. Jamie? Is that the guy from last night? Yeah. Okay, Sure. What time should I meet you guys? So I go, and I'm wondering, okay, he's coming again. No big deal, suck it up. My friend and I were the first to arrive, and we were waiting outside for Jamie.
So I show up in my car, in my work clothes. Now, the job I had over the last 10 years is full suit and tie. That dress clothes, dress smart. As a cell phone salesman, you have to look your best. You know, that's just the way it goes.
And then our friend kind of gives me the head nod, like, oh, he's here. And I'm looking around the parking lot, and I'm like, I don't see him anywhere. But I did see this really handsome man with his hair done, and he was in this nice dress shirt and his fancy work shoes. Completely different person from the night before. Completely. I did a double look, like that's the same guy.
And there's this girl again. You know, I met her last night, and here she is again. I'm like, okay, well, it's just the three of us. Okay, no problem. So we get into the movie theater. My buddy sits a couple seats down. I sit, and I'm like, I'm not sitting, you know, whatever. I'll sit wherever. And it ends up, this girl sits between my buddy and me.
Awkwardly enough, they leave me a seat right in the middle of the two of them. Okay, so I sit down, and the movie wasn't bad. There was this one particular jump scene, though. It jumps out at you.
The music always builds up to a shock scare. So I kind of knew that a jump scare was coming. But when it happened, Jodie made such a cute sound. I looked over at her and I smiled. And that was a really cute moment. I remember that.
When I turned to look, and with a little bit of embarrassment, I turned to look at Jamie. And the way he was looking at me, it gave me butterflies. And my stomach dropped. What I saw in his eyes was love. I know that sounds crazy because I said I didn't, it wasn't love at first sight. Maybe second sight. Something felt different. I remember that moment because I see that look in his eyes all the time. Why you gotta talk about the butterflies? How can make me cry? He still looks at me the same way he did that night. He looked at me in a way that made me feel special. That made me feel seen. Made me feel cared about. That was really nice. He gave me the butterflies in my stomach that night. That was the night Jamie got my attention. Jamie got my attention that night.
We kept hanging out. This group of friends of mine, as I said, these church friends of mine, just kept having special occasions and parties and backyard parties. It was the summer, so let's go to a barbecue. A whole bunch of people there this time. Like a whole bunch of people. So there's people in the backyard on a trampoline. There's people in the back playing volleyball. This is a huge backyard. There's people barbecuing. There's people on the patio talking. And I go out on the back patio and I sit in this group, in this random conversation. To be honest, I don't remember what it was. But I was involved in this conversation and I had my BlackBerry in my hand. And Jodie shows up and sits down. She doesn't sit beside me. She sits across from me. During the middle of me speaking, Jodie takes it upon herself to grab my cell phone and starts typing on it. And I'm like, okay. I look back and she's put her phone number into my phone. That's real nice. That's real nice.
We kind of joked that, we were destined to be friends because we kept showing up at the same places.
I think after about a week of hanging out with our friends every single night, I actually messaged Jodie and I said, we don't have to wait to hang out with our friends. We can just hang out together. I know it's just friends. And she goes, yeah, let's just go for a coffee. Let's go for a drive. And we go to the lake and we start to have a conversation. This conversation was one of the most important conversations that I was going to have with Jodie. Because this was the conversation where I told her I don't want a girlfriend. I'm focused in my job. I'm focused in my career. I don't want a girlfriend. She's just a friend. And I am happy with that. She's an awesome person. She's been a lot of fun this last week, but I don't need a girlfriend. I'm working on me.
Me? I had just gotten out of a long-term, a 4-year relationship, and I was hitting the restart button on my life. Last thing I wanted was another man deciding where I go. The only man's opinion I was looking for and direction I wanted to take was God's.
This girl needs to grow up. This girl needs to get her head on. This girl's got some growing up to do. I want to focus on my job. I want to focus on my business. I do not have the time to do this again.